Hi guys, welcome to this Money Control live stream. You're watching Opening Bell with me, Nandita Khemka, right here on Money Control. It's a truncated week, but an action-packed one at that, given the fact that we had plenty of action over the weekend when we had Hindenburg, make some allegations against a sitting SEBI chief and her husband. And of course, there have been a series of rebuttals. There have been reactions from SEBI as well as AMFI. And of course, the SEBI chief herself has put out a statement refuting all the allegations made by Hindenburg. Of course, what kind of reaction can we expect in the market today? We are bracing for a negative start, but no, knee-jerk reaction expected, because last time as well, when Hindenburg had made allegations against the Adani Group of companies, we did see a knee-jerk reaction, but the stocks are back to their or near their record highs. So yes, we are bracing for a negative open, but a lot of experts have maintained that, of course, this may not have such a great impact because the allegations don't really have any teeth. But of course, lots in focus over the next 30 minutes. Send in your queries as well. We'll try and take them up with our technical expert on the show. And before we move any further and move into market open, wait for the opening bell. Let's quickly take a look at the top headlines at this hour. Wall Street ends in the green on Friday as stocks made a further comeback from last Monday's violent rout. Meanwhile, Asian markets are trading mixed with Japanese market shut on account of a holiday. The GIFT Nifty is implying a mildly negative start for the Indian market. Brent crude trades near the $80 a barrel mark. Prices jumped 4% last week amid easing recession fears and as tensions erupt of a wider war in West Asia. Hindenburg research alleges that the SEBI's reluctance to act against the Adani Group might be linked to Chair Madhabi Puri Buch having stakes in offshore funds associated with the conglomerate and managed by IIFL Wealth. The regulator says SEBI chief is in compliance with all disclosures, also denies allegations that SEBI was favouring REITs. And Madhabi Puri Buch and her husband refute allegations made by Hindenburg, say the investment in the fund referred to in the report was made in 2015 when they were both private citizens living in Singapore and almost 2 years before Madhabi joined SEBI. They also said that all disclosures have been given to the regulator. Adani Group also says that the allegations are malicious. Well, just before we look at the market open and get in our expert on board, let's take a look at what really happened over the weekend and what is the latest in this whole saga. In a series of tweets, Hindenburg Research has responded to statements made by SEBI chairperson Madhabi Puri Buch and her husband Dhaval Buch concerning allegations that Hindenburg raised on August 10th. The Buches had addressed the accusations by clarifying their investment in a fund which they stated was made in 2015 while they were private citizens residing in Singapore, nearly 2 years before Madhabi Puri Buch joined SEBI as a whole-time member. Buch explained that the decision to invest in the fund was influenced by the presence of Anil Ahuja, the chief investment officer who was a childhood friend of Dhaval Buch and an experienced investor with a strong career background, having worked at Citibank, JP Morgan and 3i Group. The statement also asserted that at no point did the fund invest in any bonds, equities or derivatives of Adani Group companies as confirmed by Ahuja. Now, Hindenburg, however, was quick to counter the Buch's explanation. The research firm stated that SEBI chairperson's response contained several significant admissions and raised critical new questions. The response, according to Hindenburg, publicly confirmed her investment in what it described as an obscure Bermuda-Mauritius fund structure, which was allegedly connected to the funds purportedly siphoned by Vinod Adani. Now, Hindenburg also highlighted that the fund was managed by a childhood friend of Dhaval Buch, who at the time was an Adani director, a detail that, according to the firm, could signal a conflict of interest. Now, Hindenburg further pointed out that SEBI had been tasked with investigating investment funds linked to the Adani Group, which might include funds that Buch herself was invested in, thereby raising questions about a potential conflict of interest. So this is how the entire saga has unfolded, and this is what the latest is. But of course, we had the opening bell, the first tick coming in. It is a weak start as was being expected. We've seen a 70-point cut on the index. So no knee-jerk reaction as such. Of course, it is a negative start, but nothing really to scratch your head over. 200-point fall on the Sensex. Mid-cap index also down by 0.7% or thereabouts. The Bank Nifty is down by 200 points or thereabouts, but the 50,000 mark is is there on the screen. So nothing really to worry about. Adani Group of stocks. Of course, there is some pressure. Adani Enterprises and Adani Ports, these are the top two laggards on the index, and so is SBI, that's down 1.5% or thereabouts. Aside of that, you have some metal names and power names not doing all that well. So Tata Steel, NTPC Power Grid, these are some of the names not doing well. M&M, SBI Life, Kotak Mahindra Bank, Reliance Industries as well among the laggards today. In terms of gainers, you have Grasim, that's up over 1% or thereabouts, Sun Pharma, Britannia, Cipla. So some of the pharma names are holding the fort, and HDFC Bank as well. Bank Nifty is trading in the red, but HDFC Bank is trading in the green, holding out up 0.3% or thereabouts. Some of the consumption names are doing well. So Asian Paints, Britannia, these are some of the names that are doing well. And also from the tech pack, you have Tech Mahindra as well as Infosys. So all in all, a weak start, but nothing really to worry about. Coming to our guest then, joining me is Kunal Rambhia of the streets. Kunal, great to have you on the show. What do you make of the open today? We had reclaimed that 24,300 mark on Friday. The thought was that we have resumed the up move, but of course the kind of developments that took place over the weekend, we were expecting a muted to negative open, which is what has happened. But in terms of trends, it's a truncated week. What are you spotting? What are the charts telling you? Do you think we will or we are poised to be around that 24,400 mark?
Good morning, Nandita. Thank you so much for having me on the show, and it's always great to begin the day with money control. So, as you rightly mentioned, over the weekend we saw a lot of chaotic updates coming from all the sides, and obviously the more clarity is awaited now going forward. But if I look at the overall Nifty formation and Bank Nifty formation, I think more or less we have been in the range bound itself. The previous Monday on 5th of August, when we saw the gap down, I think that day itself we decided the broader range for next 1 or 2 weeks, and that range is spanning between 24,350 to around 23,900 kind of zone. So unless and until that zone is taken out, I think this sideways momentum is likely to continue. New position on the indices, I would say refrain taking that, and because it's near to the resistance itself, the breakout can be placed at around 24,350. Above that, I think a new range on the higher side till 24,700 to 750 is likely. We are expecting some good numbers. Economic updates today and even day after tomorrow. And because of truncated week, I would stay away from indices trading for now, and rather we should be focusing more on the stock specifics.
Okay, focus more on stock specific. What are you making of the resilience that an HDFC Bank is showing, even on days when Bank Nifty is not, doing well? Has there been a trend reversal for HDFC Bank? What are the levels you'll be watching out for there?
So, to be precise, on 5th of July, we saw a decisive gap down and 4.5% down. And since then, HDFC Bank is just been in sideways consolidation again. 1650 on the higher side, and on the lower side we can expect say 1590. This is the broader 60-point zone within which HDFC Bank is trading at. If you look at the today's level also, it's at 1650 itself, and it made a high of around 1655, 57 kind of level. So unless and until again that's taken out on the higher side, that's about 1655 on a closing basis, we can't expect the new rally here. This might just continue in the sideways direction. From the short term point of view, if someone is comfortable taking a contra bet, I would suggest a short on HDFC Bank right now with the minimum stop loss of 10 points, and on the lower side 30-40 points can be a good target for short term.
Okay, shorting HDFC Bank, that's the advice coming in from Kunal. Kunal, what about the Adani Group of shares? Of course, they are in focus today, among the top laggards, of course, in reaction to the news flow. But would you look at this as an opportunity to buy? And if yes, which are the Adani Group stocks that you would be betting on?
See, specifically when I look at Adani Enterprise itself, I feel that counter is again in comfortable zone itself, and that actually is from 6th of June. Look at the lower levels on the counter around 3020, and on the higher side, it has made a top at around 3,250. This is the broader consolidation zone. I'm very comfortable buying Adani at the present level. Look at the today's low again. It's 3,020 itself. So with that particular level as a stop loss, if someone wants to initiate a short-term trade, one can definitely keep in mind the target of 3,250 in the short term and keep trading the range. We always believe the fact that market discounts everything. So I mean, rather than looking at this update, we shall be looking at the price action first, and this can be a good level to initiate buy, and the targets can be 3,250 in the short term.
Okay, that's the view on the Adani Group of stocks. But I want to also ask you about 361 VAM. This stock is also trading with a negative bias, but in the last 1 month, the stock has given good, 9% kind of returns. In the last 6 months, we've seen a 57 to 58% kind of a bump up. So here, 361 VAM, what should be the strategy here? The 52-week high is at 1215 or thereabouts, but the stock is holding on above that 1,000 rupee mark. What is the trend you are spotting on the charts of 361 VAM?
So on the 361 VAM, we saw actually the first breakout on 24th of July itself, where the counter made the high of 1,040. From there, it went up to 1,200 levels, and it's back to the same level, consolidating near the support level itself. Trend is absolutely positive. So again, someone who wishes to follow the trend, this is the level to think of initiating a buy. The stop loss on this is going to be 980, precisely 980. Below that, if there is a closing, take an exit. Otherwise, this can be a good level to initiate the buy, and the targets again can be 1100 to 1150. This is again a positional target, but keep the watch on the support level. If the 980 is broken, then this intermediate trend might just come to an end. Otherwise, this can be a good buying opportunity again.
Okay, that's the view on 361 VAM. I want to ask you about Siemens as well. Reported numbers post market hours. The numbers weren't really anything to write home about. Below estimates, you saw a 26% jump in Q3 net profit, but it was below what the street was anticipating. Although order inflows have been strong at 18%. We have a Kotak report which has a sell call with a target price of 4,600, and it has pointed out that it was a sharp 20% miss in terms of the results. Stock has been sideways is what I can see over the last 5 days. But if you look at the last 1 month, the trend has been negative, 10% negative returns. How would you play into a Siemens? Is it a trading pick, or would you say that it's time to accumulate for the long term?
So if you ask me about Siemens, to be very honest, absolutely sideways consolidating counter, and I'm very comfortable with the trend. If you look at the overall trend from 2023 so far, it's still positive. To 14th May, the counter entered into sideways consolidation. Yeah, there were many upswings which were seen, but look at the levels. 6,600 is a ballpark figure which one needs to keep in mind. The counter tried breaking that level on the lower side almost 3 times, but it was a failure. And just 3 to 4 days back, again, it was near to 6,600. It has bounced from that level. If someone wants to go positional on a quality counter, again, Siemens is the one counter which I'm looking at. Stop loss 6,600. Initiate a buy at the present level. Keep on buying even on decline. The targets can be 7,600 to 7,800 in just 1.5 month time. I'm very bullish on this. Structure is very positive and encouraging. So it's good for positional traders.
All right, Siemens structure looking good for positional traders. But what about an Aurobindo Pharma? This company also came out with numbers. Profit was up 61%, revenue from operations, clocked at 7,500 crore rupee mark. Pharma stocks of late have seen good traction, right? So within the pack, would you prefer Aurobindo, or would you stick to, names like Cipla and Sun Pharma?
So we have seen a massive rally in the entire pharma pack, and if I precisely speak about say Aurobindo Pharma, the first breakout on the chart came on 23rd March 2023, where the counter was trading at around 500, and look at the present level 1450. It's been a multi-bagger in the recent times. Trend is very positive, but yeah, the counter is looking as of now a bit tired. On the lower side, we can expect the support to be near to 1350 to 1375. Keep that level in mind. Buy on decline. Don't buy at the highest level because the strength is missing out. So somewhere near to 1350, 1375 can be a good level to initiate buy in the trending counters. Always prefer to buy on that correction. so that we can have a favorable risk reward ratio. So overall, yeah, it's a thumbs up on the trend, but for now I turn little cautious and buy on decline.
Okay, buy on declines, that's the call then. But since we are talking about pharma and healthcare, I can see a query coming in on our live feed. This one is coming from Satya CK, wants to know your medium term outlook on a Vijaya Diagnostics. Is it a buy at CMP? How is the entire diagnostic space looking like, and how does Vijaya Diagnostic stack up now within this pack?
See, I'm honestly, I'm very bullish on the entire diagnostic space, and Vijaya Diagnostics is something which we initiated a buy at 650 levels. Now, the only reason for us to buy in during November 2023 is that the counter was coming out of massive sideways consolidation, and since then, counter is just in the positive trend. It's been last 3 to 4 months, the counter is in sideways consolidation, but still the trend is positive. The support which is on the chart is 750. So if our viewer has a comfort on holding the stock with the stop loss of 750, this is a perfect buy. If someone wants to play momentum, then one should wait for the breakout of 860 to 65 zone. Above 865, the target can be 725 to 730. For someone who wants to go positional, think of accumulating near to 790 zone with the stop loss of 750. I think this counter might just outperform the entire diagnostic space.
Okay, very bullish call coming in on the entire diagnostic space, including Vijaya Diagnostic. Hope that answers your query. But the next one is coming in from Debu K. Wants to know your thoughts on a Senco Gold. Last 5 sessions, the stock has been pretty sideways, and 1 month it's a 7% return. But gold stocks, of course, were in focus after the budget, right? After the cut in import duty. Within the pack, then PC Jewelers, Senco Gold, even Titan for that matter. How is Senco compared to all those?
See, honestly, I've not really seen the entire space, but I just opened the chart of this counter to see the trend. Again, it's very encouraging, very positive. It's looking like a bit of lack of volume based counter, but the trend is absolutely positive. So support on the chart is at around 950 to 960 levels. Keep that level in mind and hold the position. If the view is positional, I think till the time the counter remains above 960, there is no problem, and the trend might just continue till 1250. I'm taking the view based on Fibonacci extension. So 1250 can be a good target. Keep the stop loss of 960 and hold the position.
Okay, that's the view then. I hope that answers your query. The next stock that I want to discuss with you is Jubilant Foodworks. The stock is up. Numbers were pretty much okay. The like-for-like growth came in at 3%, which was in line with expectations of 2 to 3%. Delivery business revenue grew at 15.5%, but dine-in revenue was down 5.5%. That was something that missed estimates. If you look at the margin, that came in at 19.3%, and Domino's India had added 34 stores in the first quarter, vis-a-vis expectations of 40 to 45 stores. But new customer acquisition growth was strong at 32% in first quarter. QSR stocks, after a long lull, we've seen some action, because if you look at the charts of a Jubilant Foodworks, in the last 1 month, it hasn't really given any lip smacking or mouth watering gains, but it has given positive returns. So are you finding the risk reward attractive for the likes of a Jubilant or Devyani International and stuff like that?
Absolutely, the risk reward ratio is unfavorable, and what I just saw on the weekly chart is that if you go back and check out the highs of October 2022, those were at around 630 levels. Presently, the counter made the high of 630 itself, and today's high is basically 622 in the same zone itself, and it has broken the day's low as of now. We have to turn little cautious on this counter. Immediate rally from the present level is least likely, because from June till now, the counter has gone up really significantly higher. So it's been almost 45 to 50% returns in short term. I think this previous high of 630 might just act as a resistance for now. If someone is holding the position with a positional mindset, there is no problem. Hold the position with the stop loss of 580 levels. If someone wishes to create a new position, think of initiating a buy on the decline near 575, 580 levels. Otherwise, risk reward ratio at this level is very, very unfavorable. Let the counter come down a bit. We can always revisit and then take a call on the counter.
Okay, risk reward looking unfavorable for some of these QSR names. Let's shift focus to the next query then. This one is coming in on a blue dart. I think this one's coming in from Alex. Alex wants to know your thoughts on a blue dart and the overall logistics space as well. Looking at the charts of a blue dart, just get last 5 days, 1 month, negative returns, although 6 months we've seen a 30% kind of a return. In the last 3 months as well, it has given a good 10% kind of a return. In the logistics space, would you stick to the likes of a delivery, or would you look at Blue Dart, Snowman Logistics and the likes?
See, again, this is the sector which I have not really closely tracked even from fundamentals point of view. But if I just look at the Blue Dart chart, it's been in sideways consolidation since June. The trend overall looks very much positive. There is no trouble on the trend as such, but the returns were muted. That's very typical when a counter rallies too much, right? So from somewhere in the month of March, the counter was trading at 5,300 and it recently made a high of 9,000. So obviously a kind of breather is obviously expected on the counter. I think the support can be placed at around 7,600 levels. If counter declines below 7,600, I would advise a viewer to come back to money control and ask your view again, query again, raise a query. But otherwise, till the time that particular support is taken care of, one can stay invested. Overall trend is very much positive. Might just be matter of time, but it can show you the levels of 9,000 plus very soon.
Okay, that's the view on the logistics space. Hope you've taken note of what Kunal has to say. But I want to get in your thoughts on a couple of stocks before I move on to the next query, Kunal. Bharat Dynamics and Sun TV. Both these companies reported numbers post market hours on Friday. Bharat Dynamics numbers were weak, and it's clearly reflecting in the stock prices as well. Down 8% or thereabouts. Sun TV as well. 8% down tick. How would you trade into these two counters?
These counters, at least when I talk about, say, Bharat Dynamics, the counter has gone up significantly, right? And we have seen those 3x, 4x kind of returns in less than a year. So this kind of decline is absolutely fine. Trend is still, again, intact. Today's low itself can be a perfect stop loss for the counter if someone wants to take up a short-term bet with the stop loss of 1250. One can initiate a buy, and the targets can again be 1450 to 1500 in the short term. Overall, the targets can be 1625 to 1630 levels. I don't foresee any trouble so far as far as the trend is concerned. But by any chance, if the counter breaks 1220, 30 kind of levels, I'll turn extremely cautious on the same. When it comes to Sun TV, again, the trend is being positive, but in this positive trend, today's decline is serious decline. Why there is a difference between the opinion is just because it opened flat and it has come down significantly, whereas in case of BDL, it was a gap down open and a reversal. So in Sun TV, I'll just keep a watch on it. I'll wait for the counter to reach near to 825 kind of levels, and we'll revisit then. But as of now, avoid Sun TV on this chart.
Okay, avoid Sun TV. That's the call. Just quickly, I want to squeeze in more queries that we are getting as the show progresses. Ashwin Balaji wants to know your thoughts on a Jio Financial. What are your thoughts? What is the next level that you'll be watching out for here? Because it is around that 325 levels, not very far from that 394 level of a 52-week high. So, in terms of a resistance level, what would you be watching out for on this counter?
I just beg your pardon on the name of the counter. Can you just repeat, please? I missed the name. Jio Financial, you mean to say?
Jio Financial. Talking about Jio Financial. Yes, that's correct.
Perfect. So on the Jio Financial chart, see, the trend is absolutely sideways to negative, and the counter made somewhere high near April, and since then it's in sideways consolidation. Again, the strong support on the chart, which I can see, is very clearly 310. On the higher side, right now the resistance is at around 340. Unless and until this counter breaks 340, one should not really be initiating a fresh buy on this. If someone is already holding it, then with the stop loss of 310, one can definitely hold on. But for the fresh entry, I think we should be reinitiating a buy about 340 itself. So for now, it's an avoid if someone is already holding. I mean, because the counter is already significantly lower from the highs, with the 310 as a stop loss, one can hold the position.
Okay, that's the view on Jio Financial. Hope that answers your query. Just want to take up a couple of more queries then. Uddeshya has written in, wants to know your view on an RCF. Apparently, he is making a profit of 35% on his holding already. He wants to know whether he should book it or hold on. Of course, fertilizer pack is one such pack, which is very reactive to any kind of news, right? Whether it's positive or negative, you see the reaction play out, that very day or the very next day. So if somebody is making a profit of a 35% on his holding, should he book partially or should he continue to hold on?
So, Nandita, what we have seen over the period of time is that these are the counters which show really good momentum before budget, and then this is, during the budget is the time to book the profits. So, honestly speaking, we were onto RCF also and National Fertilizer also. We exited our position just because that theme got over. But if someone is playing on the trend and someone is really and kind of an investor on this counter, then yes, this is absolutely a comfortable zone to stay invested. Keep the level of around 185 in mind. If the counter falls below 185, then revisit and think of taking an exit. But otherwise, this trend might just continue. For now, it's a sideways consolidating counter about 215. One can see a momentum picking up, but for now, it's sideways consolidating with 185 as a stop loss. One can hold the position.
Okay, that's the view on RCF. The next query is coming in from Vinod, wants to know your thoughts on a Bajaj Finance. Now, this is one stock that has been stuck in a downtrend, Kunal. Even a decent set of numbers didn't really manage to revive the fortunes. Look at the 1 month chart, the 6 month chart. It has like literally done nothing over the last 6 months. Any views here? Do you think the trend is going to be negative for quite some time now?
So yes, just one ballpark level which one needs to keep in mind, and even we are waiting for it to come on screen, is 6,500 to 6,475 zone. That 25-point zone which I'm mentioning right now, 6,500, is a good level to go positional on this counter. I'm talking about this level by looking at the weekly chart. It's been last 3.5 to 4 years trend line, which is coming near, which is offering the support near 6,500. So I think that's where we can have an extremely favorable risk reward ratio for someone who wants to go positional. For momentum trading, I think 6,850 to 6,900 level is to be kept in mind. So if someone is looking at risk reward ratio, 6,500 can be a good level to initiate by. If someone wants to play short term, then 6,850 to 6,900 is a level to watch out for as a breakout.
Okay, that's the view. Those are the levels. I hope you've taken note of that. But just about one more query and one more stock that's on my list. One query is on IRB Infra that's coming in from Amar, and he wants to know how one should really navigate this particular stock. IRB Infra, any thoughts here?
Again, extremely sideways. The entire year of 2024 counter must have tested the support of 60 levels more than 7 to 8 times. The recent decline was below 60. That was at around 60, 59 point something. But again, it just held on to 60 levels. Till the time counter is not falling below 60 decisively and giving at least a day or two closing, one can hold on to this position. Momentum is absolutely missing, but good risk reward ratio if someone wants to play for the positional view. So yes, with the 60 as a stop loss, one can hold on. Momentum, I think, will pick up only above 65. So we'll revisit above 65. But for now, it's a hold if someone is holding with the stop loss of 60.
Okay, it's a hold. Hope that answers your query. That wraps up our query segment for today. But I want to ask you about Avas Financiers, doing well, cruising along 5% uptick here. CVC Capital Partners, that has won the bid for Avas Financiers, and it values it at 13,000 crore rupees. Of course, it is reacting to news flow, but on Avas, should one buy?
So yes, on the Avas, again, this counter is more or less sideways consolidating counter. Just one fine day, it just goes up significantly. There is no specific trend as such. Overall trend is sideways to positive. I will not really be a buyer on this one uptick. I'll wait for the counter to give a breakout of at least 1800, which is a swing high. Above that, we can think of initiating a buy. But for now, it's an avoid.
Okay, it's an avoid Avas Financiers for you. But with that, of course, before I let you go, Kunal, what would you be recommending for our viewers? With a 1 to 2 day time horizon or a 1 to 2 week time horizon, what are your recommendations? What are you keeping on your radar?
See, I'll first recommend Kokoyu Camlin. Now, the only reason being that this counter was in sideways consolidation for almost a year. It gave a breakout previous week. and that breakout was at around 170 levels. Recently, after going up, it just came back to the same level available near the support itself. So with the stop loss of 160, I think this can be a good investment opportunity for our viewers. So with the stop loss of 160, one can initiate a buy, and the target can be at least 215 to 220 on a positional basis. The second counter which I like the most at this level is the Ramki Infra. Again, this counter is a trending counter making clear higher top higher bottom since almost June till now. It's been 3 months. As of now, it's available near the support again. Stop loss being 700, one can initiate a buy, and the targets can be 775 to 780. These are two positional targets. I'm avoiding market from the short-term trading, but these two can be good positional trades at present level.
All right, take note of the stocks that Kunal mentioned for positional plays. But with that, Kunal, appreciate your taking out time and joining in this morning and sharing your thoughts with us. Always a pleasure, and I look forward to interacting with you again sometime soon.
Looking forward. Thank you so much.
Well, on that note, before I say goodbye, look at the market. Sure, Kunal. Market, of course, almost a 90-point cut on the index. So 24,280 is where we are at when it comes to Nifty. Sensex is also down somewhere on 260 points or thereabouts. The broader markets seem to have clawed back some of the losses. So the Nifty mid-cap index is moving in tandem with the benchmarks now. 0.3% kind of cut coming in there. The Bank Nifty also somewhere around 0.4% kind of a cut. If you look at some of the gainers that's holding out and providing support to the index, we are looking at the likes of Grasim, JSW Steel, Cipla, Asian Paints, Tata Motors. So some of the auto names, consumption names doing well. Some of the banking names, private banking names, although the Bank Nifty is down, they are holding out, the likes of Axis Bank, HDFC Bank. Autos emerging as winners in today's session. But what's not doing well, of course, the entire Adani basket, of course, Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports down somewhere around 2 to 3% a piece. NTPC, Tata Consumer, SBI, Power Grid are some of the other losers. But I also want to point out some of the mid-cap names that are making headlines this morning. Avas Financiers, as I mentioned, 6% up for this counter. Voltas, Inox Wind, RVNL. These are some of the top movers on the Nifty 500 index in terms of gainers. On the losing end, companies that reported numbers post market hours on Friday, the likes of Bharat Dynamics, of course, weak numbers, and the stock is down 8%. So is Sun TV, Balakrishna Industries. The management commentary was weakish. Reacting to that, the stock is down somewhere around 7%. And of course, the Adani Group stocks like Adani Total, Adani Power are under pressure. But the texture of the market remains on the downside. But let's see how things progress or how things pan out as the day progresses, whether we see some bit of buying emerge or at lower levels or not. But 24,275 is where we are at. But with that, we are completely timed out on this edition of Opening Bell. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Of course, you guys stay tuned to Money Control for all your other news and updates from the entire team. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.